Hi, I'm Magicks. Today we're talking about the Hysperian Intel Battlecruiser, and it's more, which is the summer 2023 event, and this is my budget build. Now I'm going to quickly go over some of the things it's covering this, and it'll be we're starting off with my own build rules. There is going to be basically besides the ship, you won't need to spend any real money in the game. I deliberately call these DayX builds numbered day builds because it's approximate for the character. Most of the time you'll be seeing drops that could be crafted by anyone or have a good chance to dropping the content or other places when I mention it. I won't be covering multiple day builds, so unless I mention it, mods don't really matter too much, and it's more of a guide for newer players, not the ideal means to do damage or tanking or whatever. Most of the time I won't be counting limited time items from other events, so you won't need to worry about that. And a lot of the page 3 does not apply to this particular ship. And today will be one of the days where I bend the day X limits, but that's only because there's only one change to it. And day 1 builds won't apply here. Technically, we could have had a day 40 or day 20 build, but that won't be that won't apply today because we're jumping into a day 30 build. A very good reason. And we usually have a day 60, which I could have easily included if I had enough time. And day 90, the ideal day 90 build, I can't get one built up at this moment in time due to the theory crafting drops me into a very expensive at the moment. I also occasionally will pay the additional considerations purely because you can see what other items you can find from the C-Store previous event items to that would be useful in here, and these items will be picked for usefulness in the build. They won't be integrated with a build unless I really just want to show it off. The highlighted paid items will, as I said, will increase the build. Alright, my initial thoughts. Right, 5 minutes traits and the Dragon's Blood Flame Reactor. Don't know where that came from. Both the trait and the console will give 20% bonus damage to disruptors and hazards and other exotic type damage types, and which is very nice. The bonus trait will require you to do damage with one of a dozen different, one of a handful of uncommon damage types to apply for it to trigger for 15 seconds. Both the console and the trait will also boost the uncommon damage types, so as well as disrupt. So ideally, I want to trigger the trait as much as I can. But the question is what to trigger it. But really, first I want to talk about bonus damage. Bonus damage, 20% bonus damage doesn't really sound much, especially when you can find when most people look hauling around Mark 15 gold weapon consoles which were offering about 40% each. Well, that's purely because of the way the math works out. I'm going to say, most of the time when I what's above here is a shortened variant of what most Strategic Online players will go through. Currently on here, Cat 1 refers to weapon console damage, and Cat 2 is basically bonus damage. Bonus damage is referred to in game is what it's referred to in game. It's and and usually if it makes just damage of damage type, it usually refers to category 1. For many builds, it's easily worth adding some bonus damage in addition to a large amount of category 1 damage. As it's situated and a universal console, you don't need to have it in a tactical slot. It's a lot easier to fit into a build for quite a good significant boost of damage, and that power thing, it does look like it's good. We could do something about that as well. That will wait till we wait till a lot later. Alright, 5 Magicks with trait triggering. Now with testing, I've actually found out there is no cooldown on triggering the trait again, and I really do mean no cooldown to triggering the trait again. It was like triggering one. It was like going because it does showing your state on your status bar. It says for like 15, 14, 15, 14 when I was triggering it on a regular basis. So this really does work out that we found out that 100% uptime is somewhat possible, but with some things. Since the universal console itself works to trigger it, because it does fire damage, which is one of the damage types which needs to, but it's got a 2-minute cooldown, so it would need to find half a dozen different types to trigger it. However, that is not the only thing. Now the Slam Tillet's field modifications, or the Discovery Engines Shields Deflector set, is actually a decent. The 3-piece set does triggers onto a new enemy. If every new enemy hits, you hit with your weapon. So sounds like a good place to start. I mean, it will work with the ship. Now, one of my first thoughts was actually with the experimental hyper-excited ion stream projector. That is basically the experimental weapon that comes on most escorts in the game. And I hate to say, I went through it, but sadly, this is not a escort and it's a battlecruiser, so it can't equip it. So but it's something you can consider for when you are needing it. Looking at looking around, and there was other weapons that could work. We've got the Delta Alliance ordnance, which basically is particularly neutronic torpedo launch, and since it's, I believe, and I recommend just grabbing the 2-piece for it because it has a. But it's a I believe the energy type's not disruptor, so it's not, so it gets the Delta Alliance does get knocked down a bit, but the neutronic torpedo is considered one of the best torpedoes in the game anyway, so it might be worth keeping on. One of the best things I found is that from the Terran weapon, which is the Withering Disruptor. It's got a pretty much a 2.5 chance for radiation. I mean, the 2.5 chance is somewhat common with everything, so it's something worth looking. But it's well worth having something to trigger it. And the Terran Task Force munitions which also can trigger it as well to some degree. Now, those are the ones I considered using. Had considered using for this particular build, and found some other things that would trigger it. Now I found that the green Quranic set is actually one of the few items that I can guarantee to get a 100% uptime. Sadly, it's part of the winter event only, so I have to exclude this due to the rules. And since Watts was a bridge officer skill called Q-State Laced Weaponry, I've also got to drop this one as well. And again, I was looking through the through possible traits and consoles, and the previous 4 Picari tier 6 ships with traits and consoles can work in some degree, but because it's a previous event ship and now only available to do with Mud's Market or not at all, I've got this has got to go. But the biomolecular disruptors and the counter command ordnance, which is part of the same sets. They've got the 2.5 proc, which chance to trigger something. It only triggers after 8 seconds after the event happened. Now this doesn't sound too bad until you realise that most of the time when this might proc, the ship has to last for 8 seconds after I somehow trigger it. Most of the time, I'm building these ships so that if they're lasting more than 8 seconds, you're either up against the boss or you're building it wrong. I mean, that's how good this build I've done is working. Well, I actually found that the Kateri mass-produced missile launcher more dropped because I thought it had a bit of not particularly high damage, but it's actually one you could use. And then the Delta Alliance energy weapon, being Polymer now, it gets dropped out because it's not a disruptor, basically. But let's actually go on. So let's go to this ship and see what it looks like. Welcome back, Cam. Okay, right. Time to actually I'll talk about it and you can see what the ships can do. Right, so this is the I'm decided to do this more of a day 60 build, but this is basically I'm going to because this is basically designed to go around entirely around the trait. I've deliberately dropped in a few things around here. In the engineering slot, I made the Aston beam from that as the commander. That is deliberately to you, so I can just do radiation damage. It's more of a just trigger it on demand. Everything. And I've also managed to drop in what we call the spam bar I call spam bar, which I've mentioned in the past, and which we've got photon capacity to making everything to speed up. Now I've had to cache in the Intel offset and put it in override substations 2 on here. This could be this can be upgraded to upgrade substation 3 later on, but it's pure because I decided to make this into a fit the lower levels of a builds, day 30 builds to rules, so it's you get to everything on day 30 levels. And we've got battle weapons. Again, this can be upgraded to 3, but it's not viable. Not viable due to it's already Mark 2. Mark 2. Just put extra safe here to pure for the fact that we need to put heals in where possible. Same with the engineering team. But anyway, we have got the red power is actually direct energy modulation. This is purely for so we can do extra damage as an engineering slot. They actually have not much. But and then we've got beta 2, which basically here again increases your damage drops damage resistance of your enemies and stealth of their foes. So very nice to have. Fire well 3, this and speed of spread 1. I will mention that these we could I could drop beta 2. These are all somewhat standard, and we can always drop beta down, swap beta and fire it well around for a better damage. Of course, there's heals stuffed in everywhere else. Admittedly, I haven't got a clue what to really stick in the instance slots really, because admittedly, if you do want to use something, I would recommend cashing in a Christmas event. Let It Go, yeah, or the endothermic inhibitor beam. Both of those are not standard training manuals, so they are basically locked out for anyone really wanting it. I remember some of this stuff is actually paid. Talking about paid stuff, I could always talk about both best serve cold and chemosite lace weaponry. Both of those would be brilliant to sneak into this, and so you can proc the trait. I will point out that once you proc the ship trait, it will always show on this bar here. So very nice to note if you're using it or not. As I said, this is what the stuff of the bridge officers and this ship can do. As I said, these. So moving on to the actual gear. Now, this is more of a day 30. I'm going to deliberately punch up that because this is tier 3. I can tier 3 competitive. We're going to assume that you're going to be taking some of the advantages of being able to do some get started earlier on due to the Christmas to the event. So on competitive, but that's the only reason why I'm even bothering keeping it. Right. Most of these stuff, most of the stuff's been equipped has been either stuff that increases our disrupt damage or increases our chances to proc 5 magics by doing these damage. Now, of course, the ship console, the Dragon's Blood Flame Reactor, I don't know where that came from, is here, and I made this engineering console and this neutronium ally are just there, just so I can actually just be a bit more tanky, and this engineering console is just a random piece of gear which helps just be able to get energy around, which you don't have to. But the ferrofluid hydraulic assembly is actually part of a Term Task Force 4 3-piece set, which I do recommend having at least two items of it. But this one's actually okay to have because increases weapon and axe power, which is very nice to have, and also increases makes your torpedoes fire faster and does some boosts some of your other stats, so nice thing to have. And same thing with having the Bioneural Gel Pack. And this puts a bit more power into it and increases cooldown charges. Now because this cooldown is pure because this ship really doesn't need as much as I can give it without actually but with having a 10 slot being the highest, you can't get much more out of that. Okay, again, the tactical consoles are somewhat standard, with the exception of the R-Watch running the counter command multi-conduit engine relay. That's purely because I just hadn't been bothered to craft a standard disruptor induction coil at this one time. But that's just, I said, most half of this is just thrown together. What the trick is actually up here in the deflector, warp core, and shields. And these are the three pieces of the Slamix tactically field modifications from the Discovery reputations. Yes, that's why you need. This is why it's a day. It's at least a day. I think it's day 30 day 60 build. So yeah. So what you really want to know is that isn't the stats really. It's this. You got to get some additional hull regeneration, which is very useful for a battlecruiser because you're going to generate quite a bit of aggro here, and you would like to have it. So yeah, okay. Mycelial Lightning, and set 3 is Mycelial Lightning. This will deal electrical damage based on my hulls. On my maximum hull, so some of the stuff I've equipped actually is helping just because it just hold up a slight bit. But this does actually mean that you quite often just need to. You can any new enemy you find gets rocks 5 magics on demand, so out pretty much quite easily. So that's means it's a lot quicker to. That means you're going to do a lot of damage very quickly, as in first couple of shots, and then first couple of shots to an enemy, to the other ones don't don't trigger Mycelial Lightning, but Mycelial Lightning is pretty decent, and other people have managed to make a Mycelial Lightning build. So it is actually something worth sticking into. So top end, if top end recommends it, and me being at bottom end, or not bottom end, being a decent in the mid range on a budget build, recommends it. You know it's good. And competitive. This is the only thing that isn't. Again, this is the competitive prevailing in. Innovative impulse engine. It's the only thing that prevents this from being a day 30 build. Believe it or not, that's the only thing. But you can, as I said, as I said a few minutes ago, the tier 3 on competitive, and you can start. There's no and if you can sort out your monkeys on Riser and do some other stuff, you'll be able to get that pretty quickly, and you can easily get it before day 30 if you wish. So if you're willing to work at it. And let's go over the weapons. Four of the weapons are basically from the Withering Disrupt gear, which I believe is from the nope, wrong one. Town Task Force. And the Town Task Force Town Task Force store, delivering store, or you can, every time you just run a Town Task Force hourly mission or just daily mission, you have a good chance of finding one in a box. But beware that this does also contain a pile of contains ground weapons as well as space torpedoes and other space weapons, so you don't guarantee to get that on demand. Talking about monkeys, those are the two. This is on triple, so that's why it's completed so fast. Yeah, in the rear of the abstract torpedo, that's basically standard. With another one comes out that basically, if you don't have access to the Town Task Force photon torpedo launcher at the time, you want to use the Withering photon torpedoes, and you're going to be using photon torpedoes as well. So this counter command isn't actually a bad item to have. Plus, whilst you aren't doing anything with it, is actually pushing up radiation damage, which you are making, and photon damage, which you are making, and disruptive damage, which you are also making. So it's not it's something you can keep there for as long as you need to, especially with the way that everything else is working up here. So it's. I also got to mention that there's also Larker's custom fire controls, which is basically just extra weapon power and increase critical chance, and basically double the standard fleet console when you get it. Okay, as I said, you've got the Town Task Force photon torpedo. Then you got from the Delta Quadrant is Delta Quadrant reputation. The neutronic torpedo. This one is guaranteed to do radiation damage. So it's one of the things I've decided to keep on demand. Keep it, and you may want to have this fired on demand, but remember, this fires once. This fires once every 15 seconds, so theoretically you could have this firing exactly the right time to get you the extra damage when you're just about to expire, when it's just about to expire. So then there's also the Town Task Force Disruptor Beam. I want to point out that this all comes in a cannon variant, and I do actually have the cannon variant. Both are pretty much nearly identical. The cannon variant, I forgot to pick up an item from pick up something pick up some rewards. So I didn't get a increase, but I picked the rewards for being a temp recruit. So, and because this is a, whilst I don't actually use the full 3-piece, I do like to use the gunpowder that the focus detonation increases your projectile damage, which is very nice, and very nice to do. It means that your torpedoes do even extra more damage. So, but it's not. These aren't the best torpedoes in the game right now. I will tell you that now. But this is the second torpedo launcher, and it's not really. It's nice to have, but does not trigger 5 Magicks. Let's go back to find out what I really would like to, what items I would put in my build if I wasn't. Oh, sorry. Traits. I forgot the traits. Now, these are picked up because they have either cheap or free. Or they're free. Or some of these do come from the R&D schooling. So just be aware that when I say these are free, they are not always the same option. And these will also depend on your ship build. The beam barrage and beam training should only be used when you have a beam set up. Same with some of these abilities you either want to use. Cannon scatter volley with cannon abilities if you're going to use cannon abilities. And of course I've got some. Everything is, most of these are basically quite good to have. I recommend Fleet Coordinator, worth that slot, because that's 2% bonus damage on your own. That's right. It's when your team when it's 2%. When it's 2%, which is basically when the bonus is, it counts how many players on your team. There's always going to be one person on the team, you. So that's always worth to include. But if you have more than one person, you're going to be very good at. You get more in ASA. Opportunity just pure because of quick chance, quick severity. Still a nice thing to have. It's got Techie and Warp Furious. Well, I believe Warp Furious is actually a standard engineering ability, but these not everything is something you want to use. And I don't think these are all the ideal for the space reputations, but Tal's duality. Very much nice to have because it passively increases your ship critical chance, basically means that more damage based on your hull. And I've just been quite a few things quite a few things that increase my hull rating, so very nice to have that. Bring £5 bonus weapon damage. Very nice to have that as well. Fortified hull. Increases hull capacity, which can go into Tal's duality. Yeah, you can see where some of this stuff loops back into itself. Oh yes. And then there's engine refrequency. My personal favourite for a new player is to, instead of having the heal, basically instead of having to try and heal randomly, worry about heals, why not make your own damage be the source of your own healing? That's right. About 10% of the damage we're chucking out comes back as hull healing. My ship, that's why sometimes somebody with this frequency, even though you've only got well, you've only got but only well, you've only got 450 healing done to you a second, but that's not. You still only have a. It's still a nice little bit of nice to keep your ship together. Well, I mean, you do still need heals, but nice to have a passive heal when you can. Most of these, as I always recommend, make sure you get the biomolecular shield generator from the Undying one, the Undying reputation. Since you're going to be getting that anyway, you're going to be going. I'll be recommending getting that for you. Actually, because that's one for you I haven't got. Don't need to get anything in it from, but well worth grabbing. I've the Baronic, tethered non-Baronic asteroid. This is more of a one you're going to guarantee to get by the fact that you're going to be getting that much from the discovery set, and it's nice to have some of this stuff. And refracting Tetrion Cascade is just a bit of fun, because we do not know what else in these traits other than quantum singularity manipulation. Just because it's now you get a free cloak and a nice boost to your site stats, which you might want to use. But yeah, this ship does pretty nice. Too bad that in my opinion, it's a bit of a swine to use as cannons, and it's nice, easy to fly as the beams. No problem with it, in my opinion. Killdowns, but Josanna's got something that we could stick on here, but that will have to wait till paid consideration. Alright, time to have some additional considerations. Now this is more purely for things I've got ideas about, but couldn't really include in it. Cannon scatter volley with a dual cannon build. Dual cannons could be used with this particular ship, but I had to decide pretty early on: do I go cannons or beams? In this case, I went beam ways due to the fact that I thought it could be trickier to fly a battlecruiser with cannons than a battlecruiser with beams. I'm not well. Oxtobat is probably the better choice for this type of ship. And the ship can easily run it. The required duty officers to get hold of it aren't ideal to get hold of to use, so it ends up being a not particularly brilliant choice for builds when you can use something else. The House that Martok set, it's a free set build, and I just didn't have enough time to quickly get hold of this, because it's but then the crafted 360 beam disruptor beam away kind of just ends up because was more of it's more of a day 60 day 90 bill item. I've just more or less didn't have it available to put in, although. And then the day 90 build would have included the advanced engineering asymmetric plasma distribution manifold with the disruptor tag. in all 5 engineering slots with the, and if you were to upgrade it, I would put a 6th one in the universal slot. Yes, that's how come most of the weapons, most of the stuff I put in there was particularly rubbish. Yes, but I can't even get hold of on either holodeck or Tribble to even get it, to build one. So I can't have one to show you. So it instantly gets had to pass for this one. Remember, these are very new consoles, and that one's at the moment, the automatic plasma distribution manifolds are pretty much the best in slot, especially for this type, for a engineering heavy ship. Now, paid considerations. These are all paid, well, in my opinion, paid options for stuff. You can pay real money or try and get old from various other stuff. If you were going to go for the counter variant, I actually would recommend picking up Withering Barrage as well, just purely because you'll be constantly firing those cannons like I wonder who made that my tactical officer gunner. Well, Withering Barrage is very nice for a cannon build, so cannons get a volley build. Because then there's Cuban Sight Lace Weapon 1. I usually recommend level 1 on buff powers. However, it's a lockbox, but this would have been a very good choice to use to proc the powers as is. Then there is Immensity Weapon Cycle from the Arbiter, the Kurak, or the Morrigu. My opinion, well worth having slotted in, and probably would have had it. Had it in earlier on that particular ship, and very nice to have. Entwined Tactical Matrices from the Gagarin or the Crook Milkworker Battlecruiser. This one works pretty well, but I just really having it in just as an option, because options really. Then the Beimler effect from the Lobby Star. The Beimler effect drops cooldown on a random chance, but you can get it right. You won't need to worry about it too much. And whenever I do a disruptor build, the best in slot for disruptors is the Spirowave disruptors. But the problem is you've got to own and fly a Kardashian ship. The good news is that these are Sea Star ships, and you've got to be flying, and you should own and fly one of them. So, is it still worth doing? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Gear and trait has a potential to be a top DPS option, and I do feel like it is definitely top cheap DPS option. Because it all takes 5 minutes a day and it for 20 days, it's really no issue. Problem is, you've got less than 14 days to do it in. You will need to use lobby from here on out if you haven't started already. Anyway, this has been Mike Sharpwriter. See you guys next time.